Soft social resets, and how they are done, going deep into details. Hello, thank you for visiting my channel. I hope you are all well today. I am Mari. This information can be seen as science fiction or however the viewer sees best, and I publish it for entertainment purposes only, but I take my information very seriously, for whoever has eyes to see. As I have explained many times before, there is no hard reality nor an ultimate truth, as they all depend on the range of perception of each subject. It depends on the experiences, the memory, the data, and how each person has been trained to interpret it and why, therefore it all depends on the meaning that is given. There is only so much information and experiences each individual can process, therefore this also impacts memory and how long-term memory ends up fading away, and even changing because of the values and interpretations the individual has today. Each individual will tend only to remember relevant pieces of their past, and not so much how they interconnect, the spaces between those isolated memories, so if they cannot remember their present lifetime's past clearly, much less can they remember their past lives, and the meaning they gave to each one of those experiences. People in general also get gaslighted, by society and their family and friends, and by themselves, because of their own complex psychological coping mechanisms. So it ends up being rather easy to convince people that they remember what they lived in a wrong way, that things did not occur as they remember. Needless to say, this is made a lot worse by the veil of forgetfulness that everyone who incarnates on Earth has to one or another degree, because it varies with each individual, yet the few who do, rarely remember anything more than a few glimpses of their past lives, and mostly when they were very young, because such memories tend to fade away around 7 years of age. This means that any individual soul will be manipulated in the afterlife, between lives, to want to re-enter a body, to correct wrongdoings, pay off karma or whatever, without even remembering such past life wrongdoings, therefore almost setting his or her spiritual advance to zero each time, although past lives still define who each individual is today, but mostly at an unconscious level. This is exploited by the controllers of Earth each time they need, or want to reset society, as it is easy to manipulate, gaslight and control the perception of a population that has virtually no usable memory of their past lives. So, it becomes very easy to cook up a false history that goes with the needed new plan and narrative, and that helps to shape the base values of the new social structure. All that is needed to reset a society is to wait for the present generation to die out, while progressively erasing its past, in the shape of documents and of the accepted facts that are taken as real, erasing anything that can be seen as proof of a past that differs from the accepted narrative, while giving new meaning and interpretation to whatever is not easy to erase, as is the case with large archaeological sites. The whole mentality and reasoning of modern-day humankind is programmed not to be able to even consider the possibility that there can be a group who has the power to manipulate the perception of an entire planet, and to such a strong degree. A soft social reset is when the perception of the population is manipulated into accepting, believing, and acting whatever the controllers want to change in their society, and a hard reset would be a social and cultural dramatic change that is the result of a large cataclysm, sometimes of a global scale. One of the strongest arguments skeptics use against this soft reset concept I just described is that it would take too much time for people in those places of power who can guide and control to see results during their own lifetimes, but I will explain this further on. This is because what I described above takes at least 1, if not 2 generations to accomplish, having to wait for them to die out before fully implementing a social reset of the soft kind. They must die out entirely before implementing a completely new social structure, because not everyone can be gaslighted to such a strong necessary degree, and manipulated into believing the new false narrative. Soft social resets need time and patience to gradually manipulate the perception, the values, and the data people interpret reality and society with. This can be seen happening all over present-day society and culture on Earth, a controlled gradual shift in direction, gradual but complete, which takes place when you add many small changes. People cannot add small agendas and the little changes in them to see the bigger picture, as they tend to see them all as isolated things, and not as connected events. Those who control society on Earth are extremely smart, and have all sorts of manipulative tools at their disposal, including a highly advanced psychological understanding of the human mind. In other words, they know humans better than humans know themselves. They are using the very things humans see as good causes to fight for, as weapons against them. They use anything humans decide to work for, to improve their lives and their future, as a tool to guide society in their desired direction. They use the injustices of minority groups, so those who fight for their rights will end up acting in favor of their plan, while those injustices those minority groups suffer were also caused and placed there by them, the controllers. They use a legitimate social movement and struggle for respect and rights as a weaponized tool that ends up destroying the very rights and lives of those minority groups who think that they are only fighting for justice. Perhaps the two best examples of this are the following. First, the multiple color movement, where the legitimate right of a minority who genuinely seeks social respect ends up being weaponized against the entire population, which is socially manipulated and gaslighted into not only accepting them, as would be logical, ethical, and correct, but also ends up being taken to an unnecessary extreme, where the people who follow their biologically correct sexual preference are now systematically under attack, shamed, ridiculed, and belittled, as the minority that was only fighting for their rights was before. Second, the pro-woman movement, where the legitimate fight for respect and social equality for women is also weaponized for social engineering purposes, where it is artificially taken to an extreme, and where the women are the ones who are oppressing the men now, mostly at a legal and social level, but not only. The media, entertainment industry, and everything related, is all the time pushing in an overt, and also in a covert indirect manner, the notion and the concept that men are bad, and that it is shameful and toxic to be masculine. All this to the point where society is now strongly feminizing the men, making many of them wish they were women, and causing a social rupture between the genders, and with it, destroying both. This is easily achieved while having complete control over the media, because all they need to do is to place all the public's attention on the cases where men are doing wrong things, oppressing women, and being socially unacceptable, while diminishing and erasing all the public's attention on the men who are doing the right thing and who are loving, helpful, and respectful towards women. It makes the greater public generalize their perception against men, as if the bad things about them would apply to all, or even to most, but you must know that if it would have been in the interests of the controllers of Earth to shame and disempower women, as they are doing with the men, they would have achieved it all the same, and using the very same perception manipulation dirty tactics, simply by placing all the public's attention on the wrongdoings of a few women. Now, we interconnect both agendas described above. Empowering the women, in the name of gender equality, while using a genuine movement, ends up causing the females to engage in social activities, pursue their careers for long enough so that they cannot have any children, or only can with a lot of danger and difficulty, because they are above their best reproductive age. By using their controlled media, they sell women the illusion that they can be achieved professionals and competent mothers at the same time, when society on Earth demands full attention, and all the individual's energy to try to win a rigged rat race, to gain social respect, money and power. It ends up also causing the females to enter the military and into combat, where they are also killed as the men always have. And anyone with any good level of intelligence knows that you must not send the females to be killed in a war, or you will have a drastic drop in population growth. It will be devastating for the entire generation, because of obvious reproductory reasons. Now, if we add the final result of having weaponized multiple color rights and pro-women movements, one of the strongest social results will be a drastic drop in population growth, through the action of countless, fully premeditated side effects. But this is not all, as we can also add other agendas, such as false illnesses and their mandatory treatments that also breed the same result, the lowering of the fertility of the general population. The use of countless food additives and genetic modifications in it, which also causes a drop in fertility in the general population. As you can see, the added result of several agendas which at first sight do not appear to be related or connected, will be a drastic drop in population, and in its health, with this also reducing its longevity, decimating the present generations to an extreme level. And all these agendas are kept separated, as if they had nothing to do with each other, using the media, where their paid and moronic useful idiots they call experts, will assure the listeners that everything is separated and is happening because of other reasons, which may or may not exist, reasons that are also artificially caused by the controllers, and then weaponized at their convenience. Although population reduction is their most obvious objective, all these agendas also interconnect with others, forming a complex mind control and mind-guiding web that shapes the general population's perception of reality, values and interests, to conform and accept a new socio-cultural paradigm, therefore, a soft reset of planet Earth. Coming back to the argument, which states that all this would take too much time for the controllers to see and enjoy the results of their plan because they too would die of old age. The controllers do need a lot of patience, as a complete social reset takes somewhere in the vicinity of 150 years, being that all our data indicates that the last one occurred somewhere in the middle of the 19th century. The controllers are patient, and can wait for an entire generation of humans to die off. Because they are not human, they have much longer lifespans, they are off-planet, and therefore time as such does not have the same duration, or length as it is perceived on Earth. Once more I am telling you straight out, that it is the Galactic Federation, who are controlling everything down there. Every agenda and every socio-cultural media tendency is for a reason, and never for empty entertainment purposes only, as everything is carefully engineered, with psychological knowledge of how humans think, all to change and guide society to a new reset, like the ones they have done so many times before. And all this does not end on Earth, as their manipulatory strategies extend far away from it, using even more elaborate tactics, tailored to control the beliefs and the perceptions of star races who do remember their past lives, exploiting every circumstance in space as well, as is the case of the vast distances between stars and their cultures, the temporal slips, and perception differences with time, and the isolation it all prompts. There is so much more to be said, and so many more agendas and interconnections to be shared, and yes, I will expose as much as possible to the limits of what is permitted on this platform, which is also one of the strongest and most important tools of modern day's perception manipulation mechanisms on Earth. I must stop here for today, my friends, or I will not have enough time to transform all this text into a video for tomorrow. Thank you for watching my video, and for liking and subscribing, and I hope to see you here next time. Take care. With much love, your friend, Mari Swaruu.